Hello, this is Mark Mitchell, and today is just a brief video for the rel110, the World Religions course at Johnston Community College for the summer of 2020. And just to give you an idea of what our book looks like, now you have an e-text, but the physical copy of the book, there's a picture of what it looks like. But again, when you register for the course, you get an electronic version of the book. You've already purchased that, and it contains all the software that you need for the course. The bulk of the video today is just going to show you in Blackboard where things are located to give you an idea and help you to navigate as quickly as possible so you'll know where things are. Just one tip right offhand is if you're ever unsure of where to go, please click the Assignments tab. For students, again, I've tried to make this orderly, but most of our assignments in class can be found under that tab. We'll come back to that in just a moment. But briefly, if we just go through the tabs up here, the Getting Started is the first day. You want to click here, but it tells you and has some links towards the syllabus. This video, here's a link to it that we're doing today. Once you've watched it, if you need it again, it'll be here. The opt-out form, we'll have to check on that, but it's really saying that you want to get your money back for the electronic resources. You can do that. The form I have right now needs to be updated, but that's not a good idea to do at all because then you're going to have the problem of submitting your assignment. So the prices have come down. They're still that's a good amount of money to spend, but it's really in your best interest to not opt out. But if you still want to, then you can do that. You'll just have to get your assignments to me another way, and that's where it becomes really difficult. So also there's some mention of our textbook. There's some other mentions about our assignments, and we'll come to that tab. We have 12 chapters in our book, and we plan to cover them all in the summer semester. There's one project for the course, and there's the rubric that you can pull up, and I hope that's interesting for you. But then the next thing you should do is click on the Introduce Yourself forum and just tell me a little bit about yourself, all the things that you think are interesting about you that you want to share and to get to know others in the class. But that really takes care of this first tab of Getting Started. The Announcements tab, your course, when you log into Blackboard, should default here. And so if there's any news that I need to make the class aware of, I'll put it here. Your passwords for your quizzes and exams will appear here. So, always check for the due dates and those passwords here. Any other information that I could think of that I think the class needs to know, I will also put here. So, again, the class automatically defaults to this page. Got a nice looking banner here, and it's really representative of a lot of the chapters and the journey that we're going to take through the course. My name is Mark Mitchell. The faculty member for the college that will be here. Really don't have a summer schedule on campus, so I won't be located there during the summer. It will really be through online or Google voicemail or something along that. I've got a Google phone number that we can use. I can use Zoom or email, just lots of ways to get up, but no physical one-on-one contact yet. And again, we've had a very rough 2 months here with the pandemic, and hopefully things will get back to normal as soon as possible. So I have listed there a little bit about me if you haven't met me before, and there's a little more recent photo, but all about me, and I want to help you as much as I can. So please, anytime you want to call or email or just get up with me, don't hesitate to do that, and I'll be glad to help you as much as I can with the course. I really enjoy when students take advantage of that. The Course Resources tab has our syllabus, and that document's very important. So make sure you read through that thoroughly. You're aware of the dates. I would recommend writing those dates down and putting it somewhere near your computer, wherever you're going to be accessing the course most of the time. I know I use my desktop, and there's places that I would print off stuff and just tape it really near so that I wouldn't forget. I know you're busy, probably taking other classes and working too, got a personal life, and So it's easy to forget some of those dates, but I usually do not reset anything if you miss the date. So that's important. The student acknowledgement form, please read over that, and it basically, I need you to either email me a copy back. That would be a great way to do it, or just send me an email saying that I have read and agreed to abide by the student acknowledgement form. If you have any special needs or considerations you think I should be aware of, there's a place on that form where you can fill that out. A lot of what's left on here is just general policies, and they're here for you to look at. I'm not going to spend much time at all with them today. I want to move on to other things and not really make the video very lengthy over things of that nature that you can read for yourself. Enrollment verification quiz is just really to document when you enter the course. So there should be one here. Just click on this tab. It's just a little basic little quiz, not very long, and does not count for a grade, but it just it's a way that the college looks at your attendance. I mentioned the assignments tab earlier. That's the #1 place to go. If you're not sure, most of our things that we're going to do that count toward the class are located here. The Religion 110 semester project or paper that's mentioned in the syllabus, that's where you can click, and you will be able to see, this is the rubric that you need to look at. You have your choice of either doing an interview of somebody of another religious faith than your own, or either observing a religious service. And you can do that online as well. If you don't feel safe doing that in person, now that was the original plan, but you can simply find an example of one of these things online. And then this is the link that will pop up starting next week. But then you can complete this project early. So if you like to work ahead and you're going to stay in the class, this is one thing you can do. Now let me just click on that file, and it will pull up the rubric. And the rubric again mentions what I have said. So I know that was kind of quick. But your two options are the religious interview, and I've got some example questions there. You want to come up with about 20 questions and answers from somebody that will again help you do this. So I have included some of the things that I have personally done with religion like this. Mine were a couple interviews, and I've just listed that as a way to help you when you're writing your report up. Now the second option was to see a religious observance, or worship service or something where people of faith are gathered together. And so you really want to do it in a similar way to the interview, except read 1 and 2, and then again write down your information of what you saw and experienced and things of that nature. I've also included some links to help you select a faith, and then there's some links where, hey, like a bar mitzvah celebration, that is a religious observance, for example, or ceremony or anything like that. If you have any questions about the project, about what would work and what doesn't, and what kind of things you should be looking for, then of course please contact me, and I'll be glad to clarify that as much as I can. Okay, that was again one of the assignments. We only do that one time, and that is due by July 5th, so you can complete it early. The quizzes are based on 3 chapters. They're about 30 or so questions, multiple choice, but they're on the textbook, so it's very important to read your textbook. I think we have a good textbook. It's basically a journey, and it's pointing out all the options that you have in terms of religion and faith. And the quiz, I've got them here when they open. They usually, I'll update this a little bit more and put up there the open and expiration date, so you know exactly when they're available. But again, make sure that you take them. We'll take the quiz first, and then we'll come to the exam. So again, all multiple choice based on the readings of the textbook. Now, for each chapter, we do have assignments. I mentioned the book has 12 chapters, and so we have 12 folders. And I'm just going to click on one because these basically repeat. Now, the first thing you'll notice is that, I've given you kind of a little leeway, but our class starts May 18th. And so chapters 1 and 2 will be covered in that first week. So That's why you see the due date of 5/24. But let me just click on here and explain what's going on. The first thing in every chapter is there's just a brief introduction about what you're going to read, and then what you should learn by the time that you are through reading. I have added a reading assignment, but now this does not count towards your grade. It's listed as an assignment, but it's just to reinforce the idea that reading your book is important. If you do this assignment, again, it just kind of tracks what you have read from the e-text. It is not for a grade. I wanted to remind you of all the things to do in the task list. Now, I've listed things that are required and things that are not required. So, for example, I've got read chapter 1. Well, that does not count towards your grade. The Learn Smart activity does count towards your grade. The chapter 1 discussion board does count towards your final grade. The review activity for each chapter counts towards your grade. Then I've got a lot of supplemental resources. So, for example, if you like PowerPoint slides, they're there, but they don't count for a grade. I recommend looking at them and reviewing them, but it doesn't count towards your grade. Same thing for the YouTube video. It's going to be similar to this navigation video. It's just, again, some of our chapters are lengthy and long, and I thought that might help with some of the reading. The key terms activity is at the bottom, but I have just created from the key vocabulary from each chapter. I've used Quizlet, and then there's all types of study games that you can play here, but it will go through a list of terms, and I thought that would be helpful to students. Again, this is not required. It doesn't count for grade, but I just thought it might help with some of the vocabulary, so you're welcome to use that as much or as little as you want. I mentioned some of the required assignments, but I have just put them a little lower too. So there's your Learn Smart, there's your chapter review quiz, there's your discussion board. So you get to pick, you only answer one. You get to pick, read. There's sometimes more than 2 options, but I only want you to answer one. Make sure you write at least 300 words. Make sure that you use proper grammar and spelling, punctuation, all that. And you want to use the book, refer to the book, or some other resource. Usually I will refer you to that. So, for example, a lot of times you'll see this. Look for the additional resources folder, and that could help with the answering the discussion board. So there it is. And usually these folders have either websites or articles that are relevant to what we are studying in the chapter. So that, if you see that link, that's what I mean. Now, some of the other discussion boards, instead of saying look in the additional resources, will just say see the textbook. And some do not, because they're really coming from you. Okay, I also want to see in your discussion board your original content. That means what you think, what you feel is important. And of course, all these discussion boards, they go through a plagiarism engine. And of course, I want to see what you think, not what just somebody else online thinks. And if you do use other sources, then please cite them. Just tell me where they come from. It doesn't have to follow a specific format like MLA or APA, but just, hey, put a brief citation behind it. Okay, now I'm going to scroll back up just a little bit, but we were looking at the key terms activities and some of those non-required activities. And then I have some chapter notes and outlines. So let me just click here on chapter 1, but this, again, this is the pattern for all the chapters in the textbook. But basically, we have the outline of the chapter in bold. That's what the author has provided us. And then I have gone in and added in some details there from the textbook. So our textbook is rather long. It's nearly 500 pages. And this cuts down quite a bit, about, not quite a third. But it really condenses it. Now, it's not a substitute for reading, but maybe after you have read or in addition to reading, you can use this to really check, how much you remember, or things like that. Okay, so I wanted to include that as a resource for our course too. Okay, so we've come to the end here of chapter 1. Now, this just repeats for the different chapters in the book. So that's, went through it one time, and it's basically the same the rest of the chapters. Okay, so that's the big point. Now, we've looked at the discussion board already. You can access it during the weekly folders, or you can click on this tab and come and access it this way. So that's just really a repeat of something else. And again, it has all the topics we're going to explore for the semester. Now, the discussion board's open on Monday morning as soon as it's Monday, and then they end at Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. That's the pattern all throughout the semester. So for the first week of the class, we're covering actually Chapter 1 and 2, and that's why you see the same due date for Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 discussion board. So we kind of cover a little bit more at the beginning of the class, and then as we get further through, we kind of lighten up a little bit. Okay, so don't forget, like for your first week, complete the assignments for Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. Your grades will be kept in Blackboard, so always check here. If you have a question about grades, then please let me know. Should have all of our assignments here, and you want to make sure you don't have any blanks by the end of the semester. So I've given you a lot of leeway on some of our assignments, for example, like the Learn Smarts and the chapter review and the core. If we had any core concept videos, I don't think those are there. But you have leeway. Now, the discussion boards have a firm due date. The paper has a firm due date. The quizzes and exam have a firm due date, so please don't miss those. But some of those others, you have a little bit more time to do them. Now, that also lets you work ahead if you want to. So I like using that policy, and I think students like it too. I will add another column up here called Current Grade, and that will be the column that you really want to look at. I will delete the weighted and the total, but the current grade combines all our assignments and the weights in the syllabus, and then I also double check it with an Excel spreadsheet to make sure that Blackboard is accurate. Okay, the Tools tab, probably won't use that a whole lot. Now, you may use this to go to the e-text. If you did, you would start here with the McGraw-Hill Education Square. And then you would click on Go to My Connect section. This is one of the ways I like. And then, hey, there's the ebook, and you can access it right there. That's one of the ways you can get to the e-text. Other than that, I don't think there's a lot in the tools area unless you like using that. If you're an experienced Connect user, you can do that. But for our class, really not going to use it. The way to access the e-text is so simple now. I am just so happy with how McGraw-Hill handles that compared to in times past. And here's some videos that give you some. If you're not experienced with Connect, you might want to watch these. You probably won't need to. Once you log into Blackboard, you're pretty much into the e-text, or not just a few clicks away. Okay, so here's another link to get to the e-text, but that seems to work after you've logged in a few times. I think I like the other way I showed you a little bit better. And then if you're ever having really trouble with Connect, you want to use this address, type that in, and then there's a text or a talk feature. But this would be things that I can't fix, and we're going to have to get somebody else involved. Hopefully you won't have to use it, but if you do, this is where you would get started. I've used that myself, and it's a pretty good tool. Just takes a little time to use it. This other tab, again, I don't think for us you're going to need that. We've got about everything that we need for class, but maybe for another, or if you just want to explore that, you can. It's there. That was the purchase extra materials. Let me log back into our class, and we're almost done with the video. But Blackboard Help, again, you can find out different topics that you need, your JCC email account, and then I'm sure you probably filled out a course evaluation before, but there'll be a link, and give your honest and true opinion. So we at the college, we certainly want to get your feedback on what we're doing right, what we need to improve on. And we certainly appreciate that you have decided to take a course with JCC. We know you have many options and can select many institutions, but we are very happy, and I'm very happy to have you this summer. I hope the course is interesting for you. Again, I just want to get you thinking, and this is a class where you can express your free opinion. That's what I want you to do. And then hopefully you'll be exposed to some things or some topics maybe from a different perspective. And I look forward to meeting you and learning more about you and trying to help you as best I can. So I hope you have a great day, and thank you for watching. Bye-bye.